Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaskar. Today we will be continuing with the previous topic of discussion, which was distribution channel management, and we were discussing distribution channels in that, and we shall continue with our discussion on distribution channels, and this is lecture number 37 and of our course on sales and distribution management. Now, the various concepts that have been covered till now in this particular topic are meaning of a distribution channel, why do we need distribution channels, functions of distribution channels. We've also discussed channel flows, and we have also discussed the classification of distribution channels. So, this is where we had stopped in the previous lecture, and now we shall continue with the topic in this particular lecture, which is lecture 37, and today we shall be discussing the different types of distribution channels, the patterns of distribution, the types of channel intermediaries, how do you design a distribution channel strategy, what are the factors which affect the design of marketing channels, and then also what are those factors which affect the selection of channel partners or marketing intermediaries. So, let us begin with the first point of discussion, which is the types of distribution networks. Now, yesterday we had discussed that both sales management and distribution management cannot exist without each other, they cannot function without each other, and they are intertwined, and distribution management deals with all those activities which are associated with the distribution of goods and services. And we also discussed that in order to create a customer base, in order to retain a customer base, in order to have a satisfied customer base, it's very, very important that companies ensure that the right products reach the right customers at the right time and at the right place and at the right price. So, we spoke about the trade channel or the distribution channel or the marketing channel. We spoke about the relevance. We spoke about the different kinds of functions which channel members perform. We also spoke about the channel flows. And now we move further to actually see what could be different types of distribution networks. So, let us discuss about what could be different types of distribution networks. Now, companies always have this option to either directly distribute their goods and services or to have channel partners or channel intermediaries, and so they could either go in for a direct distribution of goods and services, or they could go for an indirect distribution of goods and services. In the case of direct distribution of goods and services, the goods flow from the company to the customer directly. There is no channel intermediary, there is no channel partner in between, and we see these kinds of dealings mostly in the case of B2B scenarios or in the case of institutional buying, and also for B2C customer scenarios via the internet. And because there are no members in between, because there is no intermediary in between the manufacturer and the customer, such kinds of channels are also called zero level channels. So, there is no intermediary, there is no channel partner, the goods are manufactured by the company and sold by the company to the customer directly. We see this in the case of institutional buying, government buying, in the case of B2B scenario as well. In the case of B2C, we will find this kind of a pattern. When companies sell via their own websites or when they go for direct marketing, and because there is no channel member present between the manufacturer and the customer, it's also called a zero level distribution channel. The second alternative which companies could go for is an indirect distribution channel, where the goods flow from a company to clearing and forwarding agent or a distribution center or to distributors, to retailers, or again from the company to distributor and or to a wholesaler and a retailer. And we see these kind of networks in the case of B2C marketing, especially for FMCGs, consumer durables, etc., where there could be one or two levels or three levels as well. We also see this in the case of B2B, where there could be one or two levels and the products move through the intermediary. So, we generally find this in B2C, but we can also find this in a B2B scenario where there could be 1 or 2 levels and the product would move through the intermediaries. So, such kind of indirect distribution channels would mean 1 level or 2 level or 3 level channels depending upon the number of intermediaries between the manufacturer and the end customer. We could have a 1 level channel or a 2 level channel or a 3 level channel. Now, the goods flow from the company to a CFA or a clearing and forwarding agent or to a distribution center, and then they move to distributors, to retailers, or they could also move from the company to the distributor and to the wholesaler and to the retailer. So, depending upon the number of people in the who are intermediaries in the channel could be defined as a 0 level channel or a 1 level as a 1 level channel or a 2 level channel or a 3 level channel. There is nothing as a 0 level channel here. What we have is a 1 level channel or a 2 level channel or a 3 level channel. The difference here between direct and indirect distribution again is something which may be emphasized upon. In the case of direct distribution, there is no intermediary, and so it is a 0 level channel, but in the case of an indirect distribution, there are intermediaries in between, and so there could be 1 level, 2 level or 3 level channels. Now, let us talk a little bit more about these channels in consumer markets. So, as I just said, in consumer markets you could have a 0 level channel where there is no intermediary between the manufacturer and the customer, and the products are sold directly to the customer. It can be done via selling online or direct marketing or direct selling. Now, there is a difference between direct marketing and direct selling. In direct marketing, the company directly sells the product to the end customer, and in direct selling it is through a network or through a chain, which we often see in the case of Amway or Tupperware, or in the case of Herbalife or Avon, etc. So, direct marketing is when there is no intermediary and the company sells through its own outlets or directly through its websites, and and direct selling happens when it is a chain or when it is a network selling. Marketing channels in consumer markets could also be 1 level, 2 level and 3 level. In the case of 1 level, there is only one channel intermediary between the manufacturer and the customers, and this single intermediary can be a distributor or a retailer. For example, you have car dealers or you have dealers of electronics, and so this is typically a 1 level channel. You have 2 level channels when there are 2 intermediaries between the manufacturer and the customers. So, these 2 intermediaries are mainly the distributor or the wholesaler and the retailer. For example, we see this in the case of fast moving consumer goods or FMCGs. And then you have the 3 level channel where there are 3 intermediaries between the manufacturer and the customer, and there is a there is an agent acts as a mediator between the distributor or the wholesaler and the retailer. So, you have these 3 intermediaries between the manufacturer and the customer. There could be a distributor, a wholesaler, a retailer, and in between the wholesaler and the retailer there is an agent who acts as a mediator, making it a 3 level channel. So, this is how it looks like, where in the case of company selling directly to the customer, it is a 0 level channel, where it could happen in the form of selling via the internet through their own outlets and stores or through network marketing. 1 level is when there is only one retailer. So, he could be a dealer who's selling who represents an electronic company and sells products on behalf sells products which are either exclusively or as an assortment from other competitive offerings also. So, it could either be an exclusive store for a company, or it could be a store which deals with competitive offerings also, but because there is just one intermediary in between the manufacturer and the customer, it's a 1 level channel. In the case of 2 level, there could be a distributor or a wholesaler and a retailer, and in the case of 3 level, it could be a distributor or a wholesaler and an agent and a retailer. So, these are the different options which are there in consumer markets. Now, when we talk about selling services, it is a little different, because marketing channels for services are quite different from marketing channels that are designed for goods. These are basically because of the characteristics which differentiate goods from services. For example, especially intangibility, perishability and simultaneity. So, in majority of the cases, service providers provide the service direct as a zero level channel, or sometimes there may be a 1 level channel as a franchisee. For example, we see restaurants, but in some cases an agent may also exist. For example, in the case of ticketing, or in the case of people involved in managing tours and travels, so for they act as agents. So in those cases the channel may not be a direct channel and there may be intermediaries in between, but in most cases, because of the characteristics that differentiate goods from services, majority of the cases service providers will either adopt a 0 level channel or a 1 level channel. So this is where the company directly dealing with the customer and providing services becomes a 0 level channel, or when there is an agent in between, or if there is a franchisee who has taken a franchise and operates on behalf of the franchisor. In those cases it could be a 1 level channel. Then we have marketing channels for industrial products. Now industrial products are bulkier products, larger products. The number of buyers are few, but the transactions are heavy, very large bulky transactions, and in most cases these products are very expensive items, and they are either used as raw material or components or spare parts or work in progress, and they are actually used by the customer to manufacture an end product for the end customer. So when it comes to industrial products, it is always desirable that the cost in the channel are less, so that the overall cost of production for the final good reduces, and keeping in nature the kind of products that are bought, which are bulkier or complex or expensive items. In those cases channels are actually prescribed to be short channels. So when it comes to industrial products, there are short channels in comparison to consumer products, and this because the customers are few but large transactions and bulky orders are placed, and there is always a geographic concentration of these buyers, of these industrial buyers. So industrial companies usually follow a 0 level channel, and in this case industrial products are directly sold to the customers. So industrial companies dealing with industrial products usually follow a 0 level channel, and in this case industrial products are directly sold to the clients or to the customers. A 1 or 2 or 3 level channel may exist depending upon the objectives of the company or the distribution strategy of the company. In 1 level there would be an industrial distributor between the company and the customer. In a 2 level there would be 1 company representative and 1 industrial distributor, and in the case of 3 level there would be another person as an agent along with the company representative and the distributor. So this is how it looks like, where in the case of a 0 level the company directly deals with the industrial customer. In the case of 1 level there is an industrial distributor in between the company and the industrial customer, and in the case of 2 level there is a company and then there is another company representative and an industrial distributor between the company and the industrial customer. And in the case of a 3 level there is a company representative and an agent and industrial distributor. But the longer the channel, the more costly it is going to be, and because the channel intermediaries like distributors or agents may demand commissions and incentives, so it is always wise to have channels which are very short, so that there are direct dealings between the company and the industrial buyer or the industrial customer. Now these 3 figures which we have seen in the previous 2 slides as well are adapted from Still and Cundiff and Govoni, Sales Management, Prentice Hall International, and they have been lifted from Still, Cundiff, Govoni and Puri, Sales and Distribution Management, 2017, 6th edition, Pearson, India. Now let us come to the patterns of distribution. Now what are the patterns of distribution? The patterns of distribution here determine the intensity with which a company wants to reach out to its customers, and intensity here is not just limited to the delivery of products to the customers, but also encompasses the kind of services that need to be provided. Now the kind of distribution or the pattern of distribution that a company would actually adopt depends upon the marketing strategy of the company as well as the product portfolio of the organization, because what we are talking of is intensity in terms of reach and in terms of reach of product as well as service. So, what is the kind of reach or what is the kind of intensity a company would like to have depends upon the objectives of the company, and also depends upon the product portfolio that the company is into, manufacturing or marketing. So, the distribution intensity of a company can be classified into 3 categories as intensive distribution, selective distribution and exclusive distribution. Now, what is intensive distribution? In intensive distribution, the products are stocked in as many outlets as possible, and the core concern here of the company lies in creating time and place utility for the customers. We have discussed about the time utility and the place utility in yesterday's lecture, and a large number of selling outlets are identified, and the products are stocked in as many outlets as possible depending upon the sales potential of the company in that particular territory. So, we find this in the case of companies which sell convenience goods, for and FMCGs. So, companies that opt for intensive distribution ensure that their products are available in as many outlets as possible, and they can provide time and place utility to their customers. The second pattern which we can identify is the selective distribution. Now, in the case of selective distribution, as the name goes, the company decides to stock its products in selective outlets only. Only a few outlets are allowed by the company to sell their products, and not all. Brand image is an important consideration here, and so companies do not want to stock their product or in each and every outlet. There is always a concern about the product as well as the service that can be provided along with the product, and so there must exist a match between the image of the company as well as the resource availability with the distributor and the outlet selected for selling the products. Image is never compromised, and long lasting relationships are built by the company with the channel partners. The channel partners have a big role to play in ensuring that the product is rightly stocked and sold, and services provided as and when required, which would help build the brand image of the organization. So, brand image is an important consideration, and there must exist a match between the image of the company as well as the resource availability with the prospective distributor and outlet selling the product. Selective distribution helps earn more profits, as channel intermediaries do not need to compete on price. Most of the products which are sold under this kind of a pattern are premium products, and because the product does not have to be kept in many outlets, distribution costs are also kept low compared to the intensive distribution. Then we have the exclusive distribution. Now, as the name goes, exclusive distribution means stocking the product in very few and select outlets across the country, or it could be maybe 1 or 2 outlets in a particular state, or in if it's a very big state, it could be say 3 or 4 outlets in a particular state. If it's a tier 1, it may not be there in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. It may be stocked only in tier 1 cities. It may be there in state capitals. If it's a state capital is very large, they may be 2 outlets, but in most cases it is the products are stocked very exclusively, and exclusive rights are offered to a particular dealer to sell the products in a geographical area. As the name goes, the products are stocked in very few outlets across a state, across a country, and that these products also relate to a high image of their own. They are high priced, they are premium priced. Brand image is again a consideration here, and the dealer is restricted by contract from selling the products of the other companies or of competitors. So, companies who opt for exclusive intensity are highly selective about their choice of outlets and have just about 1 outlet in the entire market. And the greater control over intermediaries with respect to credit terms, price, promotion, etc. can be exercised. The control that companies can exercise over their dealers and distributors is very tight, and there is a huge emphasis on preserving image and quality of the product and of the brand and of the organization as a whole. Now, the difference between selective and exclusive distribution is that in the case of selective distribution, the number of outlets are few, not many, but in the case of exclusive, they are very few. So, in a selective distribution pattern, maybe in a particular state, there may be some tier 1 cities apart from the state capital, which may where the product may be found. But and maybe it could be say 2 outlets in the state capital, or say 1 outlet each in the tier 1 cities, or tier 2 cities may have 1 outlet. So it's very selective. But in the case of exclusive distribution, it would be maybe just 1 outlet in the entire state, or maybe 1 outlet in 3 or 4 states put together. So the product is very exclusively distributed, and there are very few distributors in the entire country which may be counted perhaps on one's fingers. So this is how what the difference is between the selective distribution and exclusive distribution. Now the next thing which we need to discuss is the types of channel intermediaries. Now when we speak about the trade channel or the marketing channel, there can be different kinds of intermediaries. You have the company's own sales force, which is recruited, trained, and to handle key customers, or to to deal with the dealers and distributors who are and so the company here selects them very carefully, trains them, grooms them, so that they can perform well in the field, either with the customers or with the dealers and distributors. Then we have the company owned distribution centers, which could include the company owned shops or stores or outlets. We also have another kind of channel intermediary, which is the CNFA and the CSAs. Now the CNFA is the carrying and forwarding agents, and the CSAs are the consignment selling agents. They work for an organization on contract. Now both the CFAs and the CSAs act as transporters between the company and its distributors. They do not take title to the product, they do not take ownership to the product, but they merely collect products from the company, and they arrange for storage, they arrange for transportation. And in case of a storage, they arrange for a central location or a warehouse. They break bulk, and then they dispatch smaller consignments to distributors or to wholesalers. And as the name goes, in the case of CSAs, they also sell on behalf of the company. So the difference between the CFA and the CSA is that the CNFA do not sell the goods, but the CSAs, they also sell the goods on behalf of the company. Then we have the distributors, dealers and stockists. Now they buy the goods in from the company in bulk, and they sell them on higher margins or commissions, as the arrangement may be. These may or may not get credit from the company, but they extend credit facilities to their customers. A distributor is one who is chosen by a company to exclusively sell his products in a particular territory, and he is not allowed to sell the competitor's products. He redistributes the company's products, which means that he would visit the customer's premises and he would go and sell those products there. A stockist is again a person who represents a company in a territory, but he does not visit the customer's premises, and he only sells from his shop or from his outlet. And a dealer is again like a distributor, but he may or may not have a defined territory and may sell competitors' products also. He also visits the customer's premises to sell products, and he also sells from his shop or outlet. So this is the difference between a dealer, a stockist and a distributor, and all of them work on behalf of the company. They buy from the company and they sell the products on commissions or on margins, as the arrangement may be. The difference lying that a distributor will only and only sell a company's products, and he will also visit the customer's premises to sell those goods. On the other hand, a stockist will sell the company's product in a territory, but he will not visit the customer's premises to sell. He will only sell from his shop. But a dealer is one who will not only sell from his shop, but he will also visit the customer's premises to sell products. And unlike a distributor, he is allowed to sell the competitor's products also. A distributor will not be allowed to sell the competitor's products, but a dealer is one who may also sell competitor products. Apart from that, there are commission agents, jobbers and brokers who work on commissions and margins, and they sell the product of the company. They do not take the title to the product, but they just sell on behalf of the company. There are electronic channels which are via the internet, where the companies sell via either their own websites or independent e-commerce platforms. And then there are franchisees and franchising. Now a franchisor is a firm who wants to sell a good or a service, and a franchisee is a firm or a channel member who is willing to sell the good or service on behalf of the franchisor. The clear-cut guidelines and standard SOPs or standardized operating procedures are laid out by the franchisor, which the franchisee must adhere to, and on behalf of that he has to pay some to the franchisee, so those to the franchisor. So those are again arrangements which can be made. So a franchisee pays a sum to the franchisor and uses his name or his logo or his trademark to sell goods and services to others. In return for this, using the name or the trademark or the logo, he pays a fee to the franchisor. Then we have the very common, commonly seen and commonly dealt with channel partners who are wholesalers and retailers. We as consumers often deal with wholesalers and retailers. Of course, we deal much more with retailers than with wholesalers. It is rare that we deal, but we've of course seen many wholesalers who we see in the mandi or in the old markets. Now, the difference between wholesalers and retailers are that wholesalers do not transact with the end customers directly. I and you as end customers cannot buy from the wholesaler. We may see them, we may watch them operate, we may have seen their outlets, but we would never be able to buy from there because they do not sell to the end customer, and they supply goods and sell goods to the retailers and other entities, and but they would not sell it to the end customer. So wholesalers do not transact with the end consumers directly. They act as a link between the company and the retailers and other entities, and their customers are other wholesalers or retailers and institutions. So they deal with a particular product or a particular group of products, and they deal with a large number of companies' products, and they are not on contract. Wholesalers do not operate near retailers. They are usually based outside the main market, and there's a large area demarcated for them where all the various wholesalers operate from, and they operate on high volumes and low margins, and they sell to other wholesalers or retailers and other entities. Now, the retailers are channel intermediaries whom we deal with. They sell the products to us for our personal non-business use. They buy from the company or from the distributors or wholesalers. They stock a large product assortment and then they sell from their own shops. Now, they have a wide product assortment. They deal with several kinds of customers, but with small order sizes. They may also offer specialized services, and that gives them the competitive edge. They may indulge in promotional activities or personal selling activities, and they also display point of purchase stimuli, etc. And here what is important is the location where the store must be such which is conveniently located and visible. So generally retailers operate in the main city so that people have access to those areas and people find those areas conveniently located. Retailers operate on high margins, and they purchase in required lots from the wholesaler, and they are also not on contract, and they may operate in different formats as a store format or a non-store format and others. What is a non-store format? For example, an automated vending machine is a non-store format. That is also a retail format. Now, there is a difference between wholesalers and retailers, and the difference here is that the wholesalers do not need to worry about the location or the ambience or the convenience factor. They do not have to take care of promotions. They do not deal with the end customers, but they deal with the channel partners, or primarily the retailers, and they also deal with a particular product or a group of products and have large transactions with both the company, which acts as a supplier, and the retailers who are their customers. So they buy in large quantities from the company, and then they break bulk into smaller consignments, which they further send to the retail stores depending upon the orders received from the retailers. Wholesalers also deal with sorting and grading and warehousing, storage, transportation, financing, etc. Now, next thing which we will discuss is designing a distribution channel strategy, which is a very, very critical element in the success of a company. It is something which one has to design very carefully, and it is something which cannot be changed frequently by the company. So it has to be formulated with utmost care. What lies at the core of an effective distribution strategy is the network of sound, mutual and contributing relationships between the various channel partners and between the company, and the overall strategy of the company here must actually touch the corporate strategy, the marketing strategy and the distribution strategy. So, what are the factors which affect the design of marketing channels? One is the strategic objective of the company, the product mix or the product assortment, the target market, both the current and the prospective, the type of channel partners required, customer service levels, technological developments, the level of competition in the market, channel structure and intensity, and cost and economic consideration. So, the distribution strategy of a company must be in line with the overall strategic objectives of the company, and of course, the product mix is an important factor to be considered. The greater the product lines of the company, the higher would be the requirement for channel partners. With respect to target market, companies need to consider both the current and the prospective segments, and they also have to take decisions with respect to the kind of channel partners required. Customer service levels, where which basically lay down the foundation of a distribution strategy, and it's very important to take into consideration the nature of the industry, the kind of product and services offered by the company, its market share, the competition, because all of this will help decide the customer service level to be offered by the organization. The best way here is to go in again for the ABC analysis and have your category A customers who are going to contribute maximum to company sales and who would buy in bulk. So, they are the main source of revenue for the company, and hence they must be given special attention, whether it is with respect to fulfilling sudden orders or extra days for credits or discounts, etc. The B category of customers who contribute to levels of business and profit moderately must be given the must be second to be given consideration, and category C, which is your low contributors and are not regular customers, must be given the least amount of attention and must be in terms of priority, and they must not be given special benefits, because the cost here will outweigh the benefits that you can earn from them. Apart from that, technological developments are a factor which needs to be taken care of. With the growth of the internet, with the technological advancements, and internet shopping, mobile shopping has undeniably forced companies to adopt the either e-channel or the electronic channels, and online channels allow companies to reach a wider segment of prospective customers of the company at very little cost. However, this also necessitates logistic requirements to serve those customers, and companies today are opting for multi-channel structures and hybrid channels where they sell online and as well as offline. The competition in the industry and in the market needs to be taken care of. Heightened level of competition might force companies to expand their level of distribution. In case the company does not act promptly, customers may be swayed away by the competitor, and the competitors may end up acquiring the prospective territories for their products. And channel structure intensity is also something which needs to be taken care of. The channel structure is the number of levels in the channel, and the channel intensity is the number of intermediaries required at each level. So, the company can again opt for exclusive channel or an intensive channel or a selective channel of intensity, and they could either go for exclusive distribution or intensive distribution or selective distribution depending upon their requirements. Cost and economic considerations of course need to be taken care of, because the companies must realize that when they select channels or decide on channel designs, every level in the channel would mean an additional cost for the company. What has to be seen is that the benefits which can be reached or which can be earned are much more than the cost that is being incurred. So, this is something which needs to be kept in mind, because if distribution channels are to be effective, it's very important that they are cost effective and overall they can earn profits for the company. They should not be cost incurring, but they should be something which would be bringing a huge amount of profits for the organization, and the benefits that one attains should be more than the cost which one is incurring. Then we come to those factors affecting the selection of channel partners. Of course, factors with respect to sales potential, product mix and assortment, experience of channel partners, the location of the channel intermediaries, the size of the channel member, and the financial strength. So, sales potential, one of the very crucial factors, it will help decide as to how many channel partners may actually be required by a company. So, this majorly depends upon the selling potential of the channel and the total sales potential of the company in a particular territory, and factors that need to be addressed are the channel members, salespersons, their outlets, their sales turnover, etc. Apart from that, the product mix and assortment. So the more the product lines in which the company deals, the higher would be the requirement for channel partners. Consumer products require different channel requirements as compared to industrial products, and in case a company is dealing with diverse product lines, it would need to have different kinds of channel arrangements for different kinds of products in the market. The experience of channel partners is a very, very important factor to be taken care of. Companies always prefer having such channel partners who deal with similar product lines, or have some experience in selling particular products which the company is manufacturing and wanting to sell. So the experience of the channel partners acts as an added advantage, and a company can capitalize on the past experience of the channel members in forming sound distribution strategies. And so the channel members' experience in handling similar products is a critical factor in their selection. Location, of course, is one of the biggest factors which is taken into account while selecting a channel partner. It determines the availability of the product to the retailers and the customers. For example, if for wholesalers to reach the retailer, location is important, and for customers to be dealt with by the retailers, again location is something which is very, very important. So in case the wholesale retailers are concentrated, it becomes easy for the next level retailers to buy the products, and similarly if retailers are conveniently located, it becomes easy for customers to reach them. If a company's dealers are located in prime locations, chances of sales happening are much higher, because the location, if conveniently accessible, is something which would be easily frequented by the customers, and sales are more likely to happen. The size of the channel member again is an important determinant. In case the company wants its products to reach a large number of people, it must take into consideration the size of the channel member, his infrastructure, his sales force, his in the outlet, and other facilities that he can provide. But sometimes this could be a problem, as a channel member who is so popular and so good and so big may also be dealing with the competitors' products, and so this is something to be taken care of. The financial strength of the channel partner is equally important, and it is important for a company that every channel member maintains the required stocks of products of the company, so that there is no shortage of products for the customers. Financial strength of the retailer comes into picture. It assumes additional importance, because there may be a lot of credit dealings between the wholesalers and retailers, and this is only possible when dealers and distributors and retailers have adequate financial strength. Also, in order to meet different working capital requirements, back end, it's very important that part payments keep on getting made by the retailers and the wholesalers and the dealers, etc. And so it's very, very important that the financial strength of the channel partner is taken into consideration. With this, we come to an end of this particular lecture. The references are still Kandiv, Govoni and Puri, Sales and Distribution Management, Pearson, India, 2017, Havaldar and Kavale, 2017, McGraw-Hill, Panda and Sehdev, Sales and Distribution Management, 2011 and 2012, Oxford University Press. So this brings us to an end of our second lecture on the 8th module of the course, and also brings to an end the part 2 of distribution channels. Thank you.